Hi there, Barry Longden here again. Today I'm going to show you a quick tutorial on how to access Class Notebook, which is an add-on portion of the OneNote app that comes with Office 365. So I'm logged into Office 365 currently on my screen, as you can see, and I have an option for either OneNote or Class Notebook. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at Class Notebook first, talk about how to get these set up, and then we can look at OneNote to see how it looks like with a group of students. So within Class Notebook, this is where you're going to manage all of the notebooks that you create and all of your students and teachers that are part of that. So this is actually a pretty straightforward process. All you have to do to get started is just click on Create a Class Notebook. One of the awesome things about OneNote and Class Notebook is that all of the work that is done online or either through the desktop app is that it's all saved to the OneDrive cloud. So you never have to worry about saving anything throughout the whole process. Okay, so we'll walk through how to make one real quick and then I'll show you what it looks like once we get inside. So you just create a name for it. So it gives you an example like biology 3 period 2. I like to put the last name on there, so I'll put my last name Longden, and then I can do like say a computer graphics class. So I'll click next, and then it'll give me a nice little overview. So there's three different spaces that are available here. The three spaces are the collaboration space where anyone can edit anything. The teacher can edit content and so can the students. So this is great for things like discussions or if you want to compile information together that multiple groups have put together into one spot. The second section is the content library. This is where the teacher will want to post most of their content, where the students can view it, but they can't edit anything. So teachers can put things like directions for assignments, project directions, scoring rubrics, assessments, and things like that. The students can copy that information, but they can't actually edit anything inside of the content library. And then finally, the student notebooks is where the private space for each student is located. Every student has one of these. They will not have access to any other student notebook besides their own. But the teacher can go inside and look at all of the students' content, and they can make adjustments, add feedback, or grade things in there as they want. So there's nothing to be done on this page except click next. So the next thing you want to do is you want to add in another teacher if you want to add them. So for example, say you have a student teacher or you're team teaching, you can put their name in here and that will add them and they'll have the same privileges that you do. And then down here is where you're going to want to put in the names of all your students. So my recommendation is that if you contact me, if you're at one of the high schools, I will give you what's called a distribution list. Those will include all of your students' names for each of your classes and will update dynamically, which means that if students are added, it will add them to the list and add them to your class notebook. And if they are dropped, it will remove them. So we're going to just leave this alone for now. So we'll put in some students later. Click next. You can make a class notebook with no students. We can always add them at a later time. The next spot allows you to change what are called the sections of each notebook. So every single notebook has two different ways of organizing information. They have the notebook itself, but inside of the notebook, they have what are called sections and then what are called pages. So this is very similar to how a notebook would be set up. You have the sections of a notebook plus you have the pages inside of them. So you can either choose to keep the default ones, the handouts, class notes, homework, and quizzes, or you can uncheck those and add more if you wish. So if, say, for example, I wanted to make a new one called projects, I could do that and it would add a fifth section. You can always change these at a later time as well. All right, so the last section here before we make this is it will go in here and show you what it looks like from a visual standpoint. Here's what the teacher will see. Notice that I will have students down here below the content library when I put them in. And the students notebook will look very similar. They'll have their own student section plus all of the 5 sections within that one that you created earlier. So when you're all done, you click create and it will make the notebook for you. So we'll leave that. I'm not going to create this one, but I'll let you do that and see what it looks like. So let's go ahead and take a look at what it looks like within Office inside of OneNote. So if I click on OneNote now, I'll show you another class that I've created that we can view. All of the content that you add to your class notebook will be done inside of OneNote. So this is where all of your work will be done as well as what your students will access. Students access OneNote on their Office 365 account, no problem, through the Office 365 portal page. But the nice thing about having a teacher set up is that you can access this on the OneNote app that's on your computer as well. There we go. All right, so notice that we've got some options like you can make individual OneNote notebooks, but we're more interested in this class notebook section. So let's click on that, and notice I have a bunch of different options to choose from. Let's find the one that I actually created. So I'll do this digital educator test class one. All right, so let's look at the layout, and then I'll give you some more information about how to add content and assignments as we go through this. But for right now, we're just going to look at how this is laid out. So this is the online version. We'll look at the desktop version in another video. But notice that I've got all of my options over here on the left-hand side. These are my sections. So for example, I've got my collaboration space, my content library, and all my students' names listed over here. These are just other educators within my district. So within each one of those, if I go to the content library, for example, and open that up, I'll have some different pages inside of here. So for example, I have this "Is It Okay to Touch Mars" video that I posted here. So this is just a link to a video that I had found on YouTube. So notice that I can create new pages and new sections depending on what I want to do. Now, the cool part about OneNote is if you haven't ever used it before, this is not just a glorified Word document. This is actually what's called a freeform canvas. And what that means is that you are able to add whatever content wherever you want to and organize it in whatever way you like. So this is basically just a wide open space where you can add content to your heart's desire. So you can add links, you can add pictures, you can add video, you can add audio recordings of yourself, video recordings of yourself, interactive components, and even embed things like Excel spreadsheets and Word documents. So we'll go through those later, but just want to give you a little bit of awareness as to why OneNote is cool and what's useful about it. We've got the typical tabs, the File tab, which allows you to do a couple things, print, share, look at the information about this. You've got the Home tab that allows you to do all the text editing and such, spell checking and things like that. Now, the Insert tab is where things get cool. So inside of here, you can add in all sorts of cool stuff. You can add in things like pictures, a table, file printouts, Office add-ins, links, and symbols, and even some stickers. You can also look at View. View allows you to do a couple of different things. It allows you to check the reading view, this immersive reader, which is really, really cool. It allows you to have the text read to you on the OneNote itself. And then the class notebook section is also useful too. This allows you to do what's called distributing pages, sections, reviewing student work, and a couple of other things. So we'll look more into that a little bit later. But I think that's good for right now. We'll go into some more detail with things like how to add students later, manage your notebooks, and how to add content. So thanks for stopping in. Bye.